This is the injury report presented by NYU Langone Health. On today's injury report, we're talking with Dr. Kirk Campbell, sports orthopedic surgeon at NYU Langone Health, about a key piece that is still missing on this Giants offensive line. We're talking about third-year right tackle Evan Neal, who's still on the physically unable to perform list after he underwent surgery in the offseason to repair a small fracture in his ankle. And Doc joins us now. Doc, what's going on, my man? Welcome back. How you feeling?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get into this injury report because I've seen Evan Neal throughout the offseason. I saw him as recently as yesterday, Doc. This man has been on some sort of roller coaster ride when it comes to this ankle and trying to get back on the field. The initial injury was back on November 5th. That required him to get off-season surgery back in January, but he's still not cleared to practice. So what's the typical recovery timeline from that kind of surgery?
So excellent question. You know, as you mentioned, the initial injury was back in January, initially thought to be high ankle sprain. Unfortunately, it was then found to have a small fracture, and he now had surgery back in January. Typical recovery from an ankle surgery is typically anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So, you know, he's right in that timeline where people typically, start getting back into activities.
Okay, so that 4 to 6 month timeline, he was able to come back during the spring and do a little bit of individual drills during OTAs, but he didn't compete. They left him out of 11-on-11s. Obviously, there had to be some sort of setback to keep him out longer than 6 months because he hasn't returned to the field just yet. I know it's all speculation, but what could have happened during that process to get back on the field?
Yeah, so not his physician. However, the fact that he was able to participate in the OTAs, that was a very good sign, right? It is very likely that he did have a setback, which is the reason why he's currently on the physically unable to perform list. So when people are recovering from an ankle injury, we have to take a step back. We have to remember that the ankle sees anywhere from up to 13 times your body weight. Evan Neal is a very big man. That is a lot of force that his ankle is seeing. He's recovering from a very significant injury that required surgery. He has to be in very high, performance. He's a high-level athlete, so his performance has to be tip-top. He has to be in great physical conditioning, and that takes time. So the fact he's currently not on the field participating, yes, it is concerning, but not entirely surprising. Right. He was able to do a little bit of running over the weekend. He was seen running. That's a very good sign. However, we have to give him time to recover, from such stresses.
Yeah, Tuesday when I was at the joint practice, you saw him off to the side with the team trainers, kind of rehabbing and doing some light running and jogging, that sort of thing. So, what kind of rehab work is he doing with the trainers and doctors to get back out there? And can they be aggressive with the rehab, or is this something where you have to take things slow?
You definitely have to take things, slow. As I mentioned, he's a very big guy. He's a large player, and we have to gradually ramp up his rehab to get him into game shape. So, there are different phases of the rehab. Initially, make sure he doesn't have any significant pain and swelling after he's out there jogging. Then you start getting him into more game-type situations. Eventually, he's going to be back on the field. At each of those stages of his recovery, you have to give him a chance to see how his ankle is responding, right? So you cannot go too fast, especially now. This is still preseason, okay? So no, not the time to get alarmed. The season is still a couple of weeks away, and we think he'll be ready for, hopefully early in the season.
Yeah, about a week ago, last Sunday, the Giants beat writers were really pressing head coach Brian Daboll to get some sort of information out of him, and Daboll was kind of just like, he's not ready. So I understand that's coaches talk. The million-dollar question here, Doc, is what are team doctors looking for to determine that he's ready to play, or at least to start practicing? And what's it going to be like to kind of ramp him up from individuals to actually kind of competing in one-on-ones and team to being game ready?
Great question. So we have to, again, see how he responds at each of the different phases. Does he have any significant pain while jogging? Does he have pain while running? When he's in the weight room, putting in the work that's necessary to play at a high level, is he having pain and discomfort? What's the ankle like after a practice? What's the ankle like the next day and the day after that? These are different things that we're looking for. And if at each of those phases he doesn't have any pain or discomfort, you gradually ramp him up. So it is a couple-week process. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. I still expect him to likely be on the sideline, for probably another couple of weeks as he gradually ramps back up. So, I know coaches speak, he's unsure. However, from a medical standpoint, based on the limited information that we have, we're still don't have a definite timeline, but in general, it does take a couple of weeks from the time you're back running pain-free to when you're back into game shape.
I really appreciate that medical standpoint. From a player standpoint, Doc, when there's no rehab assignments in the NFL, it's not like you can send him down to the Somerset Patriots to see how many innings he can pitch. When you throw him back out there on the field, let's say competitively, do you start him off with like the 2s and 3s before you ramp him up to go against a Kayvon Thibodeau or Brian Burns, two of the top pass rushers in the NFL?
Absolutely. You have to slowly ramp him up, right? You start your 1-on-1 individual drills, your 2-on-2s, you have him play 7s. You gradually ramp him up. And as he graduates and shows that he's able to tolerate, playing at that level, you get him back into game, live practices. And the coaching staff, the training staff, they have a really fantastic team there. They will not put him back out there, especially during this pivotal third year for him until he's ready.
Last question, Doc. This Giants offensive line has sustained all types of injuries throughout the recent years. Is this when he is cleared to practice and then eventually go in and play, is this something that can linger throughout the entire season?
Hopefully not. However, when you're coming off an ankle injury, it is a possibility you may have small, setbacks. I think they're doing a really nice job now making sure that he's clearing off the different rehab, checkpoints that we have in place before really getting him back out there on the field to prevent, the possibility of him having a setback during the season. Now is the time that you want to give him to really recover from this injury. You don't want him to miss another, a part of another season. So give him the time now, so that way he's able to, put in and have a solid season.
Next time I see him, Doc, I'm going to be like, hang in there, big fella. Dr. Kurt Campbell said you're going to be all right, man. Stay on course. Appreciate you. This was fun, Doc. Thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.